so many things that make me happy. I could go on and on. Radishes, cabbages, holding hands and getting packages from my friend John. Horses, birthdays, popsicles, and watching my dog play on the lawn. There's so many things that make me happy. I could go on and on. Strawberries, bare feet, swing sets, watching my baby brother yawn. Climbing trees and not skinning my knees, grilled cheese made by Uncle Don. Butterflies, pretty birds, rainbows, and frogs sitting on a log. There's so many things that make me happy. I could go on and on. When I'm feeling frustrated, mad, or just a little bit sad, I can think of my list of happy, and then I get so very glad. There are so many things that make me happy. The list goes on and on. But now I want to know what makes you happy. I bet your list is just as long.
Popcorn, cartwheels, baseball, pancakes, turtles, penguins.
There are so many things that make me happy. The list goes on and on. So many things that make me happy. I could go on and on. So many things that make me happy. I could go on and on. So many things that make me happy. I could go on and on. I could go on and on.
I love this because all you have to do is go, ooh. You ready? Ooh. Everybody can do that.
I saw the sun peek through this
A
morning
little tiny bit.
from the window into my room. Ooh,
Can't hear you.
welcome to the sun. I wake up fresh with a smile on my face, for the day has begun. Ooh, welcome to the sun. Welcome, welcome, this is our welcome
It's our
song.
welcome song.
Welcome, welcome, I hope you'll sing along.
Just a little bit.
Welcome, welcome, the sky up above. Welcome to you. Ostrich up high and then down to the ground. Now I'm ready for the day. I'll feed my body for energy and strength, so I can go and play. Welcome, welcome, this is our welcome song. Welcome, welcome, I hope you'll sing along. Welcome, welcome, the sky up above. Welcome to you. Welcome to you.
Welcome to you. It is so good to be here. I am looking out my window as I do every Saturday. It's a little bit mixed. I see the sun, but the clouds are there. So you all are going to be my sunshine today. So it is Saturday. The first song that we started with was all about what makes you happy. And I love the list. I don't know if you heard things in that song that you liked. Strawberries and swing sets and pancakes. Those were some of the things that I liked. But I'm really happy that we are here together. So we're going to start with our song that's made up. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. It's story time on Saturday. Is anybody here new? Now, there might be someone here that's here for the first time, and you get to put your hand up and give us a 5-finger wiggle. If you've been here for a long time or forever and ever, you get to put 2 arms up and give us a big stretch. And I hope there's some of our Storytime friends out there. Addison, I hear that you watch us in Ohio, which I think is fantastic. I was born in Ohio, so we're like this. That's great. So welcome to Addison, and maybe Freddie's out there, and maybe Bubba and Lucy and the new baby on the way, and Chisa. There might be all sorts of people out there. I see that Josh is out there, and I know Josh from school, so good to see you, Josh. So this is going to be a really fun story time. If we were at the library, I would stay as long or as little as you want. I do have some longer books today, but we'll do some singing and dancing in between. All right, so second verse. Good morning to you, good morning to you. It's story time on Saturday. Let's read a book or two. And I keep looking at the window. Hope I don't have to go close all the windows in the house because I think it's going to rain. All right, we have been working our way through some classic fairy tales. And I've used this book. We've been working our way through some classic fairy tales. The book that I'm going to read, that I'm going to focus on today, is not in there, and I've realized it's because it's so long. We're going to focus on a very famous Jack and some very special beans. All right, we'll sing that again. Good morning to you, good morning to you. It's story time on Saturday. Let's read a book or two about Jack and the Beanstalk. All right, last verse. Get your legs ready. Here we go. Good morning to you, good morning to you. Before we get started, let's hop like a kangaroo. Hop, 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 hop. We have to do that again in case you didn't get up to hop. Good morning to you, good morning to you. Before we get started, let's hop like a kangaroo. Hop, 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 hop. Wonderful. All right, as I said, we are going to be looking at the classic story of Jack and the Beanstalk. This is a longer story, so I'm going to start with a super long one. Pictures in this book are really fun. I like them. There are lots of words. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. So sit back and let's get ready for Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack lived with his mom and Daisy, the cow, in a tumble-down farmhouse a little way out of town. Jack's mom liked to do just a little bit of this and just a little bit of that as well. They didn't have very much money, but they didn't much care. And so here is the house where they lived. There's Jack and there's his mom. Do you see Daisy the cow peeking out through the side? Well, one morning there was nothing left to eat, not even a crust of old bread, and no money left either to buy anything. Oh, it's no good, Jack, his mom said. We'll have to sell poor old Daisy. You'd better get up early tomorrow morning and take her to the market. Make sure you get a good price for her. So here is Jack, and there's nothing to eat. Isn't he precious? And there's his mom, and she's discovering they have nothing. Jack knew better than to argue. Besides, he was very hungry. So the next day, he got up at sunrise and set off down the lane with Daisy in tow. So there they are walking. Ooh. He had not gone far when he came around a corner and bumped into a funny little man. I'm going to show you that funny little man again. The man was wearing a big baggy jacket with big baggy pockets. Good morning to ya, said the man. That's a nice looking cow you have there. Do you fancy doing a swap for her? Jack remembered what his mom had told him, so he asked, what will you give me in exchange? These, declared the funny little man, and plunging a hand deep into one of his pockets, he pulled out 6 plump beans. So I'm going to show you that picture. There they are. Those? Asked Jack. Yes, said the funny little man. These. Don't think that these are ordinary little beans. Oh no, these are magic beans. But you will have to be careful with them. I've lost the instructions for them, so I'm not sure what they do. Well, there was nothing Jack loved better than magic. So he handed over Daisy, took the beans, and hurried home. As soon as he reached the back door, Jack burst into the kitchen and proudly threw the beans down on the table. "What's this?" exclaimed his mom. Oh dear, thought Jack. So there's Jack, there's his mom, there go the beans. They're magic beans, Mom. I swapped them for Daisy. At least we've got something to eat. Well, we will have when they've grown. Jack's mom was furious. She went white in the face and she shouted and she stamped. Then she threw open the window and flung the beans outside. That night, Jack and his mom went to bed feeling miserable and hungry. And I have to show you this picture because this is, here we go. You see the beans? See the ground? And I think it's just so sweet because it shows some of the creatures that live in the soil. Sometimes we forget about those little creatures in the soil. But in the garden, things began to happen. The beans slid down through the cracks in the ground and their roots wiggled deep into the earth and shoots pushed upward. They burst through the hard crust of the soil and twisting and tangling together, they grew high up into the sky. And they kept on growing and growing until they reached the land of the clouds. And this picture is another picture of, there are the beans in the soil, and there's some other little creatures, and there are the roots, and there they are bursting up through the soil. Then a very long, windy tendril reached down to the house and tapped on Jack's bedroom window. Isn't that precious? Look at Jack's teddy. Oh, there's the tendril, but I was more focused on the teddy bear. Who's that? Jack yawned. He saw strange shadows in the moonlit window, and not sure whether this was a dream or a real adventure, he padded across the room, drew back his curtains, and there, bending and swaying in the moonlight, was the most enormous beanstalk he had ever seen. Ooh, I wonder where the top of it goes to, Jack thought to himself. Well, there was only one way to find out. Without stopping to think twice, he clambered over to the windowsill and started to climb. Soon the house was just a tiny dot far below. Still, he made his way upward. And on this page, it shows you the beanstalk. Finally, he reached the land of the clouds and stepped off the beanstalk onto the fluffy gray ground. And in the distance, he could see a huge castle. Look at that. Jack walked straight up, he's very brave, and he knocked on the door. He heard a clank of the keys being turned, the rumble of bars being slid back, and the rattle of chains being unfastened. And then, at last, the huge door creaked open, and he saw a little woman peering at him by the light of a candle. And there she is. There's the little woman and the candle. "You can't come in," she whispered. "He'll be back soon. Go away." "Oh, please," Jack begged. "I'm a stranger here and I'm starving hungry. Can't I just pop in quickly for something to eat?" The woman looked at him more closely. and saw that he was a nice-looking lad with a ready smile. "Oh, very well. You can come in for a minute," she said, "but don't let him catch sight of you." "Who's he?" asked Jack, as they made their way along the dusty castle corridors to the big kitchen. Lining the walls were mounds of huge, bulging sacks which jingled as Jack brushed against them. "The giant, of course. If he catches you, he'll eat you for sure. He's got a foul temper, so you'd better keep out of his way. Hide among the sacks if you hear him coming." Just as she finished speaking, there was a crashing of heavy footsteps outside the room. Jack only just managed to hide behind a heap of sacks when the door burst open and in barged the giant. All right, so here we've got Jack hiding. Whoop, the other way. See Jack hiding? And we've got the giant. And he is big. And he's kind of scary. I'm going to go ahead and show you the giant. Whoa, big eyes on that giant, big mouth. See the words at the top? You know what he says, don't you? Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of a stinky man. Where is he, woman? Where are you hiding him? The giant sniffed his way around the room until he came close to where Jack was hiding. "Oh, don't be silly," said the old woman. "All you can smell is the stew I've made. I was trying a bowl of it to make sure it was good enough for you. Would you like some?" Soon the giant had slurped his way through an enormous bowl of stew. This is what it says. He belched loudly and then demanded, "Fetch me my goose. I want some more gold." Okay, so there's the giant again. Ooh. And there's the stew. I think that is a pretty scary looking giant. The old woman slipped out of the room and was soon back cradling a huge, very gloomy looking bird in her arms. Peeping out from his hiding place, Jack watched as the goose began to lay eggs, each one of them made of pure gold. As each egg appeared, the giant put it into a giant egg box, and then he demanded, "Now fetch me my harp. I want some music." And once again, the old woman bustled out of the room and came back holding an exquisite harp made of pure gold. Even the strings were golden. "Play, harp, play!" shouted the giant. And, as if by magic, the room was filled with the most beautiful, gentle music as the strings began to vibrate all by themselves. And soon the giant fell asleep, and his snuffling and snoring echoed around the room. Jack crept out from his hiding place. And quietly began to drag one of the bulging sacks full of gold coins across the kitchen floor. It was very heavy, and it jingled as he pulled it, but the giant did not stir. And Jack heaved, and he dragged the sack right out of the castle, across the cloud, and back to the top of the beanstalk. The sack was too heavy for him to carry any further, so he left it there and quickly went down, where it slid down. When he reached home, Jack found his mom staring up at the beanstalk and scratching her head. "Rope!" cried Jack as he sprang to the ground. He ran off to the shed and came back a few moments later with great coils wrapped around him. And then he set off back up the beanstalk. At the top of the beanstalk, Jack tied one end of the rope to the stem and the other to the sack of gold, and he started to lower the sack. After a while, he felt the rope become loose, and he knew that the sack had reached the ground safely, and that's where his mom untied it. So I think he was very brave to go back up. Jack headed back to the kitchen to fetch another sack, and as he crept past the giant, The goose looked hopefully and whispered, "Can I come too? I hate it up here. You wouldn't need to take the sack then. I could lay you as many golden eggs as you want." So Jack picked her up and he ran out of the room. And in the corridor, he bumped into the old woman. "Can I come with you as well?" she asked. "Of course," said Jack. "Here, you take the goose and I'll go back for the harp." But as Jack picked up the harp, it suddenly cried out, "What's going on? Who are you? Help! Help!" Jack raced out of the kitchen just as the giant woke up. Faster and faster Jack ran. Closer and closer came the giant. As he reached the top of the beanstalk, Jack could feel the giant's hand on the back of his neck. "Quick!" he shouted. And the old woman started slithering down with the goose, and Jack slithered down behind her with the harp. They could hear the giant shouting and swearing as he tried to follow them. Beanstalk bent and swayed wildly, first to the left and then to the right, but the old woman and Jack reached the ground safely. Jack grabbed the rope and he pulled until he could see the giant hanging on for dear life, glaring down at him. And then he let go. The beanstalk shot upright like an enormous catapult, and unable to hold on any longer, the giant flew off the end. He soared away into space and was never seen again. And, as far as I know, he's still there. The old woman went inside to make a pot of tea, and Mom put the golden harp on the kitchen dresser, and Jack made the magic goose a special hut. He put the sack of gold in the cellar and took out a coin whenever they needed to buy something. And the last time I went to visit, the harp played jigs and reels, so we all had a merry dance. That was a super long book, and I stumbled over some of the words, but you listened really well, so we got through it. Isn't it good, though? Jack and the Beanstalk. So you guys did a great job listening, and I think it's a good classic. It's one we could talk about another time. But right now, no more talking. The very last sentence, I'm going to read it out again. The very last sentence said, "So we all had a merry dance," which is exactly what we need to do now. So I'm going to put on the song that I think sounds most like a barn dance, and you can go and find something that you want to make noise with, and we're going to sing and dance together. Once I find it, I'm going to find it, and it's called This Is a New Song, but it's probably not new to you anymore. So here we go.
This is a new song coming at you. I hope that it makes you dance.
I've got my spoons.
This is a new song.
I've got the drum ready.
You like it, just give it a chance.
And I've got my drum.
When I was a child, my father told me I could be
I've got a ukulele.
that I wanted to be. So I learned how to strum on a tiny 6-string. Now I'm writing songs for the world to see. Like this one, I'm singing for you.
I like the drum.
Like this one,
Sun's out.
I'm singing for you.
This is a new song.
I hope that it makes you dance. This is a new song. I think you'll like it. Just give it a chance. When I was a child, my mother told me I could go anywhere that I wanted to see. So I packed my bags, leaving Tennessee. melodies like this one. I'm singing for you, like this one. I'm singing. I'm singing this song, coming at you. I hope it ain't makes you
Now you're
dance.
dancing.
I'm singing this song, I think you'll like it. Just give it a chance. I'm singing new song, coming at you. I hope it makes you dance. This is a new song, I think you'll like it. Just give it a chance. This is a new song, you ain't got no words, but you can clap your hands. This is a new song, I think you'll like it. Just give it a chance. Yeah, I think you'll like it. Just give it a chance. I think you'll like it. Just give it a chance.
Woo! Well, I hope you were standing up. I hope you were moving around. I just think that's a really fun song, and it makes me feel like we're in a barn and having a great big barn dance. This is super short, okay? The super short book, and this is called One Bean. And this is a nonfiction book. I really love nonfiction. And it's called One Bean, and it's about things that grow. I had one bean, and it was dry and smooth and hard. I put it on a wet paper towel and I covered it with another wet paper towel. Soon its skin had turned all wrinkly. My bean had gotten fatter too. I think it got too fat for its skin because the skin split. This meant it was time to plant my bean. I filled a paper cup with black potting soil, and then I laid my fat, wrinkly bean in the cup and I covered it with soil. I have a feeling that some of you have done this. It is so exciting. I watered it when the soil was dry, and even though I couldn't see my bean hidden under the damp black soil, I watched for it every day. And if you have a good look, it's in the windowsill, getting some sunshine. But if you have a look, you can see how that bean, the skin is still splitting and it's starting to grow roots. Then one day, just like in the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, something wonderful happened. A greenish white stalk poked up from the soil. My bean was dangling from the end of it. Look at that. And it says just like in Jack and the Beanstalk. It is so exciting, isn't it? Once you see something popping through the soil. And soon 2 leaves grew on my bean plant, and they were shaped like Valentine hearts. More green heart-shaped leaves sprouted, and my bean plant grew bigger and bigger, and it needed a bigger place to live and grow. So it's still inside, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it needs to go outside. I filled a flower pot with potting soil very gently and very carefully. I took my one bean with its bright green leaves and roots spreading through the black, moist soil out of the paper cup, and I planted it in the flower pot where it could stay. Sunshine shone on it, and my bean plant grew some more. One day, I saw lots of little green bumps on my bean plant, and those little green bumps were buds. The buds burst open and lots of white flowers blossomed among the green, green leaves. When the white flowers fell off, tiny, tiny bean pods hung in their place, and before long, there were lots of bean pods growing on my beautiful bean plant. Actually, they brought it back inside, didn't they? Yeah. Those tiny bean pods grew bigger, and one day I picked one. I split it open and looked inside. What do you think I saw? I saw some smooth and shiny beans, shaped just like the one that had started it all. I picked a few pods and ate the beans that grew inside them, and they were very, very good. And you see what the sister or the friend has done? She's taken one, and she's going to start all over again, isn't she? Actually, that was longer than I thought. But I think that's really wonderful how it makes a reference to Jack and the Beanstalk. And the really wonderful thing about where we are in summer is those seeds that you have planted or that the farmers have planted, they are producing vegetables and fruits now. And it's an exciting time, isn't it, when we're getting our farm vegetables, because those little tiny seeds have produced some fruit or some vegetables. Boy, I can't believe it's 11 o'clock. I have another fun song, which I want to try out with you. And it's fun because it's just kind of a silly song, and it's a dance song, and it's called Ooby Dooby. Sometimes, let's just try it. Let's just try the Ooby Dooby.
Hey baby, jump over here when you do the ooby dooby. I just
That's all you need to know.
ooby dooby, 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 ooby dooby. Wow, wow, wow. Well, you jump and shake just like a rattlesnake.
Like a rattlesnake.
Ooby dooby until your shoes break. Ooby dooby.
Saturday morning can say they've done the Ooby Dooby. You have. All right, I do have one more book that I would like to read. Before I do that, next Saturday is the 4th of July, and it's a holiday. And so we're going to do something a little bit different next Saturday. We're going to try this out. I think this is what we're going to try to do. 4th of July is my favorite holiday. I love summer. I love the 4th of July. I love being outside. I love the picnics and the fireworks, and I love parades, as long as there aren't too many fire trucks. So I don't know if we're going to have parades this summer. I'm not sure, but this is what I'm wondering. And again, I'm not quite sure how it will work. But one of the things that's fun about a parade is seeing all of our friends, you know, go by in a band or on a float or on their bikes. So I'm wondering if you have a picture, or maybe you could take a picture of you in red, white, and blue, and maybe on your bike, maybe decorate your bike, maybe you're with your instrument if you're in a band. Can you send us your pictures? And we're going to see if we can make a Shaler North Hills Library 4th of July parade with our patrons. We're going to try it out. We're going to try it out. I don't know if it'll work. And even if we don't make the parade, it would still be fun to see you in your red, white, and blue. So we'll see if that works. So no Saturday story time next Saturday, but hopefully when you tune in, there'll be something for you to watch. We are over time, but I'm going to read one more book, and it's about the house that Jack built. Because one of the things I've done is classic fairy tales, and then we've done some spin-offs. And so this goes way back, this story. And the pictures are great. It is a mouthful, so hopefully I can do it. But this is called, This is the House That Jack Built. This is the house that Jack built. And this is the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. And this is the rat that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. And this is the cat that killed the rat that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. And this is the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. And this is the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the man, all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden, all forlorn, that milked the cow with a crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the cheese, that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the judge, all shaven and shorn, that married the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden all forlorn, that milked the cow with a crumpled horn. Take a breath. That tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. My goodness. And this is the rooster that crowed in the morn, that waked the judge all shaven and shorn, that married the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden all forlorn, that milked the cow with a crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the farmer planting his corn, that kept the rooster that crowed in the morn, that waked the judge all shaven and shorn, that married the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden all forlorn, that milked the cow with a crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the cheese that lay in the house that Jack built. And this is the artist who first had drawn a picture of the farmer planting his corn, that kept the rooster, that crowed in the morn, that waked the judge all shaven and shorn, that married the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden all forlorn, that milked the cow with a crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed, oh, did I already say that? That kissed, I forget now. Oh, I've been almost to the end. Oh well, almost. that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the cheese. I almost did it. That lay in the house that Jack built. Nearly got there. Woo! That is like a marathon. Nearly got there. That's okay. So that is another story about a Jack. So we had a really long version, but it was good, of Jack and the Beanstalk, which I think is a good book. Great pictures. And we had what I thought was going to be shorter, a little bit shorter, about planting your own bean and seeing it grow. And then a tangent story about this is the house that Jack built. I do have more books, but they were really long, so we're going to stop there. We did the Ooby Dooby, so you can tell people, if somebody says, what did you do over the weekend? You can say I did the Ooby Dooby dance, which was fun. And again, next Saturday is the 4th of July. We're going to do something a little bit different. If you have pictures and you want to try, again, no promises, we're going to try to have a virtual Shaler patron parade, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm going to turn on some music as we go out, and I hope you have a really good week, and as always, it has been a pleasure to be with you.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.